I'm going to start by introducing us. First of all, we've got my dad here, Henry, and he was born in this house here in Cromwell. Right now we're recording, and it's 2004, and the exact date is June 30th of 2004. So Dad is born in this house. In what year were you born?
Oh man, I don't know.
Okay,
He's
Grandpa's
you're not,
98.
He's 98 years old, and Fritz is 96 and a half. And they were both born in this house.
And where are we?
1907, I think, for me.
Yeah, and he's born in 1906. So anyway, they're born in this exact house.
And where are we?
And we're in Cromwell, Washington, which is outside of Gig Harbor.
On Puget Sound.
On Puget Sound. And you can see beautiful Puget Sound right out the window there.
Yeah.
Now, can you think of some early memory you have of this place when you were a child, Dad?
I can't get this off.
The only the thing that I can remember is going out in the boat,
Okay.
or before we had the boat.
Yeah.
I'd go out on a log.
Okay.
There's a log, maybe about 8 feet long.
Yeah.
It was one thing that does stand out in my memory
Thank
is
you.
the Bay Island,
Uh-huh.
landing at the dock over here.
Yeah.
And I was on my log, riding the log out
Yeah.
to the boat.
Okay.
And you can hear the people on board say, man, they're risking their lives going out and riding on a log.
Yeah.
And the rest of them say, oh, these neighbor boys, they can swim and they can dive. They don't have to worry. So that was the end of that one.
Yeah. Well, tell us about going out with fishing and catching fish out here, because you had 12 in your family, not all here at the same time. But now you said there's so many fish out there. Tell that story.
Oh, the dogfish.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can tell you about one time. I could hear the dogfish out there. There were so many of them, and they were skimming along the top of the water and skimming the fish. Where was I?
You were talking about you heard a lot of
Okay.
fish, the dogfish out there.
I had this 8-foot boat
Okay.
that I grabbed and went out and a pitchfork.
Uh-huh.
And we went out, I was about 2/3 of the way across the bay, and I went out in the bow of the boat, and I pitched the dogfish into the boat.
Mm-hmm.
I just,
Wow.
and I kept this up until I thought all of a sudden, I wonder how many fish I got in here anyway. So I turned around and looked, and there was only about that much leeway from water and to the
Wow. It was so full it was sinking.
It's so, yeah. And man, I got scared. I started throwing them out of the boat, throwing them out in the water. And I threw out enough, so I thought I had enough. And it was, I'm forgetting now.
Well, then you started rowing back, didn't you? You had to come rowing back.
Yeah, I heard the boat. I heard the Bay Island coming down. It was foggy,
Oh.
real foggy. I couldn't see land any place.
Oh.
And I try. I'm forgetting.
Okay, so you probably took the boat back. You rowed back then to shore with the fish, with all
Yeah,
the
yes.
with all the dogfish.
Yes.
And then what did you do with all the dogfish?
All the dogfish took the Well, I can't tell you.
Don't you remember when my dad had a big 5-gallon bucket in the old boathouse down there? He cut them open and put the liver in there
Yeah, yeah,
and make fish oil.
yeah.
We used that to paint the house.
Really? What did you add to the fish oil to make it paint?
Well, he used lead paint, white lead.
Okay, but you have the fish oil, and then what do you add to the fish oil to make it paint?
Red lead,
Oh, red lead.
red
Oh,
lead,
red lead.
red
Yeah.
lead.
Okay,
Red lead is what we used.
Yeah.
okay, and then
And we didn't, it wasn't a house, it was a barn. It
oh, you
was the
painted the
barn.
barn with this
Yeah.
oil from the liver. Of
Yeah.
the,
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
Do you remember it?
Huh?
Do you remember it?
Well, I remember this having a big 5-gallon can down the corner of the boathouse down there.
Oh, no. No,
That was something another time, maybe, huh?
yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, that's an interesting way to make paint.
Yeah.
Did the livers? Did you just let them cook in the sun, or did you put fire under?
They rotted. They rotted. Sat in the corner and they rotted.
They rotted.
And we squeezed the oil out of it. Yeah.
Smelly, huh? That's-
It smelled too.
Well, you didn't cut the livers out or something like that, or cut them and get drain out
We
the...
cut the liver out of the dogfish.
Okay,
The liver, liver,
We put the carcasses up on the berry bushes, didn't we?
yeah.
that's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, we took the liver out, and liver we cooked them,
Okay.
and the
When you cooked the liver, did you cut it first and let the oil come out of the liver, or did you just cook the whole liver?
cooked the whole liver.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
And was the rest of the dogfish, was it fertilizer for the berries, or for?
We made a little
Vegetables?
trench along the berry bushes. Put that in and covered it up.
Oh.
Hey, can you tell us a little bit about your memories of making the road, working on the road along Cromwell Beach Drive?
boy, there is much to say about it.
But you worked on making that road, right?
Yes, we used a horse
Yeah,
and a sled and a scraper,
right.
and it filled in the hollows and knocked off the humps, and made the road down to the county road, through cross land.
Did you work on that for several weeks or several months, or?
Oh no, that was a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
It was good enough.
Tell us about when you took your horse down here, but you thought the horse worked too hard, and so you didn't make him work the other days. Can you remember taking your horse down there?
No.
Okay.
Let's ask about the music in the family.
Right. Talk about the early days, like, we have this picture of your father
Yeah.
playing his guitar out here on the lawn, and you boys joining. Could you talk about that some?
Well, I had a guitar and I chorded the same as my dad.
Okay.
Didn't play the melody, we just played the chords.
Okay.
And he played the chords and I played the chords. And you had a mandolin or something. And Val had a banjo.
Where was it?
Huh?
I had the banjo and Val had the mandolin.
Mandolin, yeah. Who had a banjo? You did.
Val did.
Val did, yeah.
Yeah.
You had a mandolin?
I had the banjo.
Who had a mandolin?
Val.
Val, okay.
And would they play the melody then?
Yeah, with the mandolin he played the melody, yeah.
Okay.
But the guitar out his chord, the same as my dad did.
So out of how many? There was 12 brothers and sisters, right?
Right.
How many were musical?
Oh, I was thinking about that this morning in bed.
Really?
Yeah. But I couldn't come out with a figure.
But maybe most of them?
Huh?
Maybe most of them?
Yeah, I would say most of them.
It seemed like most of the men were pictured there. Was it mostly the men that played the guitars and the musical instruments? Did any of the sisters?
Sisters didn't play anything.
Did they sing?
No.
Oh. Do you know why?
No.
I can't remember sisters playing at all, did they?
No.
No.
But Alfred, did Alfred play any musical instrument?
And mandolin.
Okay, Alfred plays the mandolin. And Art, what he plays the Hawaiian guitar?
Hawaiian guitar.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
How about what? Was it gospel music? What kind of music?
It was church music. It's,
Church.
yeah,
And was it in Norwegian or English?
Norwegian. Always Norwegian.
And the school you went to in grade school,
Yeah.
was it what language?
English.
English.
That's when we first learned to talk English, wasn't it? When we went to grade school.
Yeah.
We couldn't talk English at home.
And your mom and dad, were they born in Norway?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And about what?
Egersund and Stavanger.
Okay. And how old were they when they came to America? Like in their 20s?
Oh, yeah.
Didn't they meet in Minnesota?
Yeah.
Yeah, they came to Minnesota like all the Scandinavians did. They landed in Scandinavia, in Minnesota. And I don't believe they were married until they came to Minnesota.
right. Didn't your father come over first?
That I don't know, probably.
Don't you think your dad came over first?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then later your mother comes over.
Yeah.
My dad came over first. He came over with the thought in mind of starting a business,
Okay.
shoe repair.
Okay.
And things didn't go so good
Okay.
because it wasn't as well communicated as he thought it would be.
Okay.
And he realized he couldn't make a go of it.
Mm-hmm.
So he wrote over to his girl and asked her to come over and we'd get married and live over here.
Okay.
So she did.
Yeah.
So she came over and they got married when they got over here.
And their name, your mom and dad's names are
Your father's name is, what is your dad's name?
it's Anton.
Anton Berntsen.
Right. And what is your mother's name?
Ann
Jansen.
Jansen, yeah.
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 Okay.
Jansen. Anton Tobias Berntsen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's about what year do they buy this property here? They come over here from Minnesota then. They get married, they come over here from Minnesota. So they buy this property approximately 100 and some years ago, right?
I used to know that date. But no, I'm sure. No, if I can remember it. 1907.
Yeah, I have that at home.
Yeah, okay. But it's a little more than 100 years when they buy this 40 acres here, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then they sell some of it right
They
away.
sold about 10 acres down along the county road,
Mm-hmm.
and 10 acres, that's north and south, and then 10 acres east and west on that side.
Okay.
And he ended up with about 24 acres.
24 acres after he sold it.
Yeah.
And then he builds this big house. And this is where Henry is born in this house 98 years ago, and Fritz is born in this house 96 and a half years ago, and now Fritz still lives in this house. It's pretty amazing.
Ever since, yeah.
Yeah.
I believe my dad said But the house and I came about the same year.
Oh,
I
Yeah.
believe so.
yeah. 'Cause
Because they had a smaller house on where the pond is in their front yard.
okay.
I don't remember that house, but I remember them telling about it. Do you remember that house?
You know, Ed mentioned something about. Do you remember in the 1920s going over to Wenatchee to pick apples?
Oh, yes.
The two of you. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, what were we doing? I believe I was going to Puget Sound one year, college at Puget Sound.
Mhm.
And then we decided to quit the college and we went to Wenatchee to pick apples. And you know how those apples are pruned are like an umbrella and they're loaded with apples.
Yeah.
And we had what they call a picking bucket, about that big and about so high, right here with a strap around your neck.
Yeah.
We'd pick them like this. And there's a knot on each side with a string would up the knot and dump them on the box like that.
Mm.
Then the boss would come along or whatever, so I would sit down and go through every apple and see if he's bruised any. Do you remember that?
Mm-hmm.
He'd sit down right by the box, go through every apple and see if we bruised any of them.
Wow.
But we were doing pretty good. He didn't say anything. I carried an 11-foot ladder.
Wow.
There was alfalfa that high from the floor. That ladder get caught in that damn alfalfa. That was a tough stuff. I fall down.
Oh.
Yeah. And I'd always set the ladder up, the big branches like this, loaded with apples. And I'd always set my ladder up so I could get the most of the picking right off the bat. I wouldn't drop so many on the ground, the boss wouldn't get after me. So, yeah, that was a lot of fun.
Tell us about your memories about the Peninsula Singers in the Sibelius. How did that get started and how long?
Let's see. I haven't thought about that for 147 years. Peninsula Singers. Oh, yes, I remember now. We had a little choir down in church for
Okay.
Christmas services,
Yeah.
and maybe 10 people.
Mm.
And Ida said, "Let's keep on singing." So we gathered a few extra people, and Cora Svara was accompanist.
Mm.
She's a fine musician. And we gathered a few more people. Eric Erickson from Gig Harbor at bass, and Hugh Denny, tenor. And pretty soon we ended up with, 16, 20 people, something like that. And we started singing concerts around the country. And remember we went to Bremerton one time and sang in a church in Bremerton. We sang in a church in Gig Harbor. And of course we had a big concert at Cromwell here. And that's about all I can remember about them. But we had a good time.
Hey, tell us about how your father, what crops you raised here, and how did you make a living here? What crops did your dad raise here?
Cross what?
What crops?
Crops.
You know, what kind of berries, or how did they make a living here?
Mostly strawberries.
Okay.
And that fact, all the farmers raised strawberries.
Okay.
And then all of a sudden, I can't tell you. But, I can't tell you.
But year after year, you raised a big crop of strawberries.
Yes.
And then how did you get the strawberries to Tacoma?
Bay Island. Steamer Bay Island.
Yes.
Okay.
Because it was before the Narrows Bridge.
They would take,
Right.
we would raise it. I can't tell you.
You'd pick the berries.
We'd pick the berries and we'd put them in the crates that we
Yeah.
would buy,
Okay.
and then we would bring them down to the water
Right in front of this place.
right in front of the place,
Yeah.
and you put them in the boat
Okay.
and go out and meet the boat
Yeah, okay, and transport them into the Bayliner.
into the Bayliner. No, that wasn't
Or
right.
not Bayliner, the boat that came by.
Bay Island.
Bay Island. Okay.
Bay
There
Island.
used to be a dock over here a little ways
Yeah.
over.
Okay.
Yeah.
I rode down to the dock and the boats come and stop there and then we rode to the dock and
Okay.
then we'd pick them up and stand up and put them on the deck of the boat.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
And then was the then that would take then they'd haul them into Tacoma and sell.
yeah.
Yeah.
And that was in by the 11th Street Bridge someplace?
10th and Dock Street.
Yeah.
10th and Dock Street. And
10th, 13th and Dock Street.
well, 13th and Dock Street. But this is how you made the living, by selling the strawberries.
And tomatoes later on.
Okay, strawberries and tomatoes.
Right. And then later on with a whole valley full of loganberry plants.
Okay.
We had a good crop of loganberries. They went to the Olympia to a cannery. And one day they found a little worm in the berry.
Yeah.
No more sale. That was
Wow.
end of loganberries.
Wow.
Well, we hadn't sprayed them like other professionals did 2 or 3
Yeah.
times. We didn't spray them at all.
Yeah.
So that was the end of our, remember that end of our loganberries, yeah.
You know, Dad, talk about how you were here once, and how did you meet Mom? I mean, she was teaching down there at Arletta, but tell that story about having Val go down.
Oh, man. I'd seen this Arletta school teacher,
Yeah.
and I thought she's pretty nice looking. And so I didn't have nerve enough to go up and meet her
Yeah.
and ask her to spend this day with me.
Yeah.
So I asked Val to go.
Okay.
Sure, he'll go. So he went up and got Cora. No, Ida.
Yeah.
Got Ida. Brought her down, and I met her down on the beach down there. And and that's about it. That was it as far as Val was concerned. I took over, and that was it.
Did Cora come with her on that first trip, or did she come by herself?
No, she can. Cora,
Cora and Ida both came?
yeah, Val was done.
Yeah, got them both to come up here.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
And again, this very same house that we're talking in right now.
yeah.
Well, wasn't Cora a teacher up at Cromwell School there?
In Arletta.
Cora.
She was at Arletta, I think.
Who?
Cora.
Cora? No, Cora was Cromwell.
Oh, Cora was Cromwell, and Mom was down at Arletta, huh?
Yeah.
I
Okay.
think that's right.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's great.
What's one of the Grandpa what was one of the things that you really liked about growing up here in the peninsula?
Oh, you got me. You got me. I couldn't tell you.
Okay.
You remember we used to go down here and go swimming, and folks used to go to town every Saturday and do the shopping. And one day he came home with a brand new pair of breeches for me. And my mother says, now don't get those wet. We want to go to the beach. So I rolled them clear up as high as I could. And then I went out too deep and I got the whole leg wet. And my dad used to have right in that corner a high kitchen cabinet, and right up on top of the corner was a nice switch he made out of suckers from apple tree. And boy, it didn't feel very good, did it? Because I got the new pants wet.
You talk about your, well, let's see. Talk about the time when your mother had everything all cleaned up here in the house for ladies to come to a meeting, and you got the stove fouled up or something. Tell that story.
Oh man, that was something. Our living room was over in that corner. That was the dining room. The living room was over there. And we, as boys, we would always go out in the
The living room.
in the living room and spend the evening. We had the organ,
Yeah.
and I don't know who played the organ, but anyway, we'd spend our time singing and fooling around.
I used to chord it. That's all I could do is chord the organ and we could sing.
Anyway,
So your mother had the place all cleaned up nice for
Yes.
these ladies.
Mom had it all, spent the whole day getting it just right for the Ladies' Aid.
Yeah.
Now, she told me when I was heading for there now, she said, you got to be careful now because I've got that, spent the whole day cleaning that up, and I want it the way it is. Okay, I went in there, lit the coal oil lamp. That's what we had for light.
Okay.
And I lit that, and then I had to go to the bathroom. So then I went out, I came back, went out to the bathroom, and then came back in, and the room was so full of smoke from the fire, from the
Lamp? Lamp?
lamp, yeah.
The soot from the lamp.
Yeah. So full of smoke that I couldn't see across the room. Jiminy Christmas, I beat it out. And I told Mom about it. She came and opened up the windows and doors and let out as much smoke as I could. And didn't say, Mom never said a word.
The ceiling was black with smoke. We had to get up there and wash that whole ceiling. We just got through washing a couple, 3 hours before.
Yeah.
But continue the story now. So you got it, she cleaned it all up and then,
Clean it up. Tilda was here. Tilda and Mom.
Your sister.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they cleaned it all up. Never said a word. And then the next morning, she came and apologized.
How come?
That's what I wanted to know. She said, well, I said some things that I didn't mean.
Oh. Yeah.
So that's what ended up.
That's good.
but,
Yeah.
but she really didn't say the things. She didn't really say the things.
She never said a word.
She probably just thought of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, one thing that I'm curious about is what meal time was like. Whether you talked or not, what you maybe ate, or who cooked the food.
Mom always cooked the food.
Okay.
And
I didn't hear that.
About meal time.
Yeah.
Like what was it like? Did you talk?
very
Oh,
little
sure.
talk. Very little talk.
Where was the table set?
Right here.
Right here, okay. And everybody sat at the table.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was there a certain place you each sat, or you sat wherever you wanted?
There's a certain place you sat. There was a bench along that wall right there.
Okay.
That's where the table was, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I added this later on, this
Yeah,
section
yeah.
here.
So there's a table along
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
I was in the middle. I was always in the
Okay.
middle. So,
There used to be a porch, open air porch all the way across the back and across the front.
Okay,
And later on, I included both of those into the house.
okay. Oh, so this was an open porch. So the table's along there.
Yeah.
But describe, how did the meal start? For example, was a prayer at the beginning
Oh,
of the meal?
absolutely. You had to read.
And who gave the prayer?
Each of us did.
Oh,
Each of us had a little piece to say.
Every time?
Every
I
day.
think so.
All the way around.
Every time,
Yeah.
yeah.
Was that in Norwegian?
We couldn't eat before we had our prayer.
Okay, but was it in Norwegian or
Oh,
English?
yeah.
Norwegian.
Okay,
We couldn't talk English.
yeah.
And then, so you read, was it a prayer or was it a scripture?
Prayer.
Prayer. Each of us had a little prayer.
And was it the same each time or different?
No, same each time. Same each time.
Did your dad talk more, or did he give a
No, he didn't talk.
did he even give a prayer?
Yeah, he would have a prayer.
Yeah, okay. But it wasn't okay. Then you would have your meal.
Then we'd have a meal and
But
take
Dad
off.
didn't Dad used to pray silently?
Huh?
He prayed silently, didn't he?
Yeah, yeah.
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 And we couldn't go to start till he was through.
Did your mother pray silently also, or did she pray out loud?
I don't remember her praying at all.
And was the food set on the table and you served yourself?
Yeah. No. No. It had started with my dad. He was always in a armchair
Okay.
at the end of the table, and it would start there, and he would take what he wanted, and then it would come to, and we'd pass. I'd
Pass it?
yeah, just went around the table.
And what was the food you normally ate?
Normally was potatoes, fish,
Salt, codfish.
yeah. Mhm.
Was there normally vegetable?
They didn't bother much about vegetables, did they?
No, they didn't. No, not much vegetable.
And was the
We
fish
didn't
mostly
grow.
cod?
We didn't grow
Codfish,
vegetables.
yeah,
Yeah, mostly codfish
Yeah.
and potatoes. And did you raise your own potatoes?
yeah.
Yeah.
There was always enough to eat.
Oh yeah, oh, there was always enough to eat.
Yeah, okay.
Never hungry.
Now, the codfish, do you remember how it was cooked?
We'd boil it.
Boil it.
Mm-hmm.
I remember my first little garden out in the middle of this field out here. I had a little garden, a little here, there, to grow my own vegetables. The first time we ever did it.
Oh,
Remember
Did we
anything?
used to go to the store, Fox Island and Sylvan, and we'd choose between that and depending on the tide, we'd go up to the store up at Warren, about a mile west. We'd dock up there for Bay Island, and as we entered the store was the store. Warren had a store there. And we'd go in there and we'd snatch a little piece of candy.
each of you try to say a little bit about memories about your father and about your mother. I mean, what kind of people were they, so that we can kind of understand them? Was your father a quiet person, and was he easy to be around? Or?
He was very,
I would say, yeah.
he was very quiet. He was very quiet.
Okay.
Would you say very quiet?
Pa was very quiet. He
Yeah.
Would you can just, was he kind of stern, or was he kind or was he kind of
No, he
disciplined?
he was kind.
So he's quiet and kind,
Yeah.
and so you have pleasant memories of being around him.
Yes, that's right.
And we'd sit in the Henry and Ida, we'd sit in the floor there and we'd play and we'd get pretty noisy and he'd tap the show with his foot sitting over there. And that meant to be quiet.
And your mother, what's your memories of her mother? Was she a pleasant person to be around?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So you both have
Yeah.
wonderful memories of your mother and father.
Oh
Yeah.
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 Yes.
Now, was she more talkative?
She?
Yeah.
I would say no. I wouldn't. She wouldn't talk much more than he would.
She'd go to Kvindeforening. You
What's
know
that?
what that is?
Uh-uh.
Ladies' Aid Society.
Ah.
Kvindeforening.
And what is Ladies' Aid? I don't know what that is.
When,
Ladies' Aid, I don't know what that means.
Is that ladies of the church?
Oh, Ladies' Aid Society.
Yeah, but is that ladies of the church or ladies of the community?
Ladies of the church.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, yeah.
You
And
get it?
they'd, all year long, they'd make these little aprons and things, you know, at their
Yeah.
meetings.
Yeah.
And then once a year, they'd have an auction. One year, I was auctioneer. And they said they made more money than ever did before. Because I'd fool them. I'd show something and I'd get a couple of bids and I'd sit like that. And then the next time, I'd let them keep bidding, see?
Yeah.
So they bid a lot more than they wanted to because I kept fooling them.
The-
Auction was held down on the sloping dirt before the church, there on the back of the church. Had benches there and a canvas over the top.
And tell us now where the church is. You know, as we leave your place here, you go out. Describe where the church is located.
Where the first house is, this side of the county road.
So about 5 minutes from here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ross's house is right on the county road. And there's a little gully, but it was just
It
this
was
side
just
of the
this
gully.
side of the gully, yeah.
And then the school was located. You'd go up by Ross's house now and go up the hill,
Where the crossroads are.
the crossroads, and it was on the right side there.
Right.
That's a vacant field now,
That's
right?
right, that's right,
You know,
that's right.
and it has to remain vacant because the land was only given for a school.
Yeah, right.
I'm afraid that stuff's gonna go to spoil.
Well,